Your brain has been hijacked and you're letting it happen. Let me ask you something. Do you ever feel stuck? Like no matter how hard you try, you can't seem to stay focused, motivated, or even clear-headed? You're not alone. It's not your fault. Well, your brain has been tricked. Every scroll, every binge watch, every fleeting thought of instant pleasure. It's all a part of a trap designed to keep you chasing quick dopamine hits that rob you of your potential. I mean, think about it. How do you think all these platforms make their money? By keeping you, the viewer, hooked for as long as possible. But there's good news, you can break free. In this video, I'll walk you through exactly how to unf your mind by understanding the traps of dopamine abuse, sexualized thinking, and the lack of motivation that's been holding you back. Stick with me because what you're about to learn will change everything. Let me tell you a story about James. James was a normal guy, early 20s, ambitious, and full of potential. He wanted to build a better life for himself. You know, the kind of life where you wake up excited knowing that you're chasing something meaningful. But James had a problem. Every morning, he'd grab his phone and start scrolling. Social media, video games, memes. He didn't even realize how much time he was wasting. By the time he looked up, hours were gone. James also struggled with sexualized thinking. Whether it was the TikTok pandemic or fantasies in his head, it consumed him. It wasn't just a distraction. It drained his energy, his focus, and his confidence. He thought, I'll fix this tomorrow. But tomorrow never came. Day after day, week after week, the cycle continued. James felt stuck, like his life was slipping through his fingers. Then one day, James hit rock bottom. He looked in the mirror and didn't recognize the person staring back. He was tired of feeling unmotivated, distracted, and lost. That's when he decided to take control. The truth is, I'm James, and my story isn't unique. And by the end of this video, you'll know exactly what steps to take to unf your mind and take back control of your life. We'll start with the dopamine trap. How about we start with dopamine? What is it? Dopamine is a chemical in your brain that makes you feel good when you do something rewarding. It's why you feel happy when you eat your favorite food or accomplish a goal. But here's the problem. In today's world, we're surrounded by fake dopamine. I mean, just think about it. Every time you scroll through TikTok, binge watch Netflix, or play video games, you're giving your brain a quick dopamine hit without doing anything meaningful. It's like eating candy instead of a real meal. The more you rely on these fake hits, the more your brain starts to crave them. Over time, your brain stops finding joy in real, meaningful activities, like working out, building a better future for your life, or building a new skill. The worst part, fake dopamine doesn't just steal your focus. It rewires your brain. It makes you less motivated, less disciplined, and more addicted to instant gratification. So how do you cut out this cycle? It's not about cutting out dopamine entirely, but learning how to control it. I'll talk about that more in a minute. But first, let's talk about an even bigger problem, sexualized thinking. Why sexualized thinking kills focus. Let's get real for a second. Sexualized thinking is everywhere. On your phone, on your screen, even in your mind. And while it might seem harmless, it's one of the biggest killers for self-confidence, drive, and your focus. Here's how it works. Every time you entertain a sexualized thought or indulge in explicit content, your brain gets a massive dopamine hit. And just like fake dopamine from social media, this hit rewires your brain. It trains you to seek more and distracts you from what really matters. Think of your brain like a computer. Every time you let these thoughts take over, it's like opening another tab in your browser. Eventually, you've got so many tabs open that the computer starts to lag. That's what happens to your focus and your energy. But it's deeper than just a distraction. Sexualized thinking also affects your confidence. It makes you see the world through a distorted lens, where instant pleasure becomes more important than long-term fulfillment. So how do you stop this cycle? The key isn't to suppress your thoughts, it's to redirect them. In this next segment, I'll show you a simple but powerful way to channel that energy into something productive, rebuilding motivation and drive. Here's the simple truth that no one talks about. Motivation isn't something that you wait for. It's something you build. And it starts with understanding one thing: your inputs shape your outputs. I realized this when I started changing what I allowed into my mind. I cut out distractions like social media, mindless scrolling, and even toxic relationships. Instead, I fill my time with things that challenge me: reading, exercising, and working on my goals. At first, it wasn't easy. It felt terrible. My brain craved that cheap dopamine I was so used to. But over time, something amazing happened. The things that used to feel boring, like working hard or learning something new, started to feel rewarding. Why, you may ask? Because I was retraining my brain to value real, meaningful things instead of fake, fleeting ones. This is the key to rebuilding your discipline. You have to do the hard work even when it sucks. And over time, your brain will adapt. But there's one more step to making everything work: consistency. I'll show you how to stay consistent even when it feels impossible in just one moment. Now, here's the exact plan to unf your mind. Step 1, detox your dopamine. Start with a 21-day dopamine detox. The only exception is if it's your occupation. Step 2, redirect your sexual energy. When sexualized thoughts arise, don't suppress them. Redirect them. Use that energy to work out, write, or build something meaningful. Over time, this becomes second nature. Step number 3, do the hardest task first. Every morning before you do anything else, tackle the hardest thing on your to-do list. This trains your brain to prioritize what matters most. Step number 4, consistency over perfection. Progress compounds over time like a snowball. It feels small at first, but you'll be shocked about how big it gets. Pause. You know what I meant, twin. Don't aim for perfect days. Aim for consistent effort. Surround yourself with people, content, and habits that inspire growth, not distractions. This also helps with vibration, but more on that in another video. No junk food, no exceptions. And finally, no mindless scrolling. But remember, this isn't a one-time fix. It's a daily practice. It's hard, but it's the reset your brain needs. You have to commit your mind to this every day, no matter what. If you're not ready to sacrifice things for the change of your life, this probably isn't for you. But if you want to dive deeper on how dopamine controls your mind, click on my next video, The Secret to Breaking Free from Your Dopamine Addiction. You now have the blueprint to unf your mind. Remember, you have the power to take control of your mind. Don't let it go to waste.